matchup. It is going to be Fnatic versus RYL, game 1 in this best of 5.
So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. What are they going to do? I'll tell you one thing that surprised me just towards the end of that. Twitch wasn't banned or picked, which has been actually the main champion for Uzi getting into this tournament. But they feel they didn't need it, and Riv, we may see something happen straight away here.
They get the sight. They are going to be able to back off this one. A good roll towards Cyanide, but it looks like this is only going to be pressure. No! Peke tries to go in for the fight. They got good damage onto Uzi. Good damage onto White. They could continue to follow here. Godlike is trying to get out of this. It's going to be the connection from Cyanide. Will they continue?
Uzi incredibly low, but they did not continue. And let's have a look at, let's take stock. Not really many summoner spells used by either team.
Yeah, exactly. There's an Ignite down on Godlike's Jax, and Uzi's flashes down, where on the other side, it's the Ignite from Soaz and the flash from Yellowstar. So overall, it's actually an even trade. We weren't sure how aggressive the level 1s were going to be. We know that RYL loves to mob around as 5 at every point in the game, but it's usually very rare that two teams actually bash into each other like that and nobody dies.
Yeah, I was wrong. They want to fight, and they just did. So a minute and 30 in, they both have shown a little bit of that damage. The wards have gone down, which means it's safety for the junglers, at least in their pathing. But once they get to those lanes, we'll have to see what can really happen. Kill potential coming out of a Jax Elise lane, quite high. Not so much crowd control from a Cyanide Soaz, but those guys will go at it.
And it takes me back to Season 2 a little bit there with the level 1 fight engages we used to have, and it always used to be a case of when I talk to the players, like, what can you do? We said, you've got to fight them, you can't give up your jungle. And you know, we've seen RYL throughout the qualifying and the tournament against OMG, the match they had there, they were not afraid to go level 1.
And I'm looking at these lane matchups right now. Because the jungle invade happened, the teams didn't actually get advanced scouting on the lanes. I've seen some different things.
That's
Corki
true.
versus Vayne. If I was Fnatic right now, I would want to 2v2. I don't feel like Leona is the strongest 2v1er unless you're able to secure kills. And at this point, Corki can out-harass Vayne early in the game. So the fact that RYL has a 2v1 against Soaz as Zac in the top lane, I think gives them the preemptive edge in the lane matchups.
See what Peke can do here. White's actually putting a good bit of damage on, getting the auto attacks in when he can, making sure he gets the highest advantage in that lane as soon as possible. You can see Lucky now hitting level 2. And he will get himself some help and get around that jungle.
I mean, Godlike isn't even messing with that 2v1, which I think is generally smart because you can tell already Pushu and Yellowstar have been freezing that lane. It's already 3 minutes into the game. It's going to be about 3 minutes and 30 seconds before that wave would even hit the turret. So it's actually pretty smart of Godlike to effectively be double jungling at the start of the game because it's a way of him getting experience. You contrast that with what Soaz is doing up in the top lane. He hasn't gotten a single creep because he's just been sitting while RYL is farming.
Yeah, and if you pass that back to obviously the OMG game, they did the same thing. We talked about the fact that Godlike on Renekton just went completely out of there, didn't want any of it, and sort of pressure on that lane, which now he's finally in lane. What, 3 minutes 30 into the game, he finally gets into lane.
And it's strange because coming in, when we were scouting the Chinese teams, it seemed like they were still very wrapped up in that 3v1, 2v1 split push strategy, and we're like, why are they still doing this? North America and Europe moved on from it long ago. But they're still really good at it, and it's been getting them here. It's been pushing them ahead in a lot of these games, and it's still effective. They're pulling it off in this game.
Uzi and Tabe have much better of a situation with the Glitter Lance coming out from Tabe. You can't exactly just Zenith Blade all day under the turret. Peke going quite low in mid.
Yeah, the Ignite being put down there. They're trying to get the damage down on towards him. He's chugging that potion. He should be safe. But look at the farm between them, 14 to 26. There's a big advantage for Whites already.
Whites' Orianna has just been killing it right now. He actually saw Leona cross over in a ward, but he's almost baiting a 2v1 in the mid lane. This is allowing Godlike to farm up as well because they know Fnatic support is missing, and Whites doesn't seem very scared of that level 2 Leona.
What a roam already from Yellowstar, trying to get himself down and get a kill here for Peke. They know where they need to focus. This entire tournament has been focused around those mid players.
But look at the difference. Yellowstar's still only level 2.
Yeah.
He's been away from that lane for a long time. He was warding as well around the blue buff, so he's missed a lot of that experience. So he's already 2 levels behind almost on his counterpart in that top lane.
Yeah, we have to say the early laning phase is just flying in RYL's favor, and Fnatic so far this World Championship actually hasn't been that strong in the early laning phase. It's a matter of them falling slightly behind before they can catch people in team fights while they're trying to rotate between lanes. But RYL is flying ahead of Fnatic right now. If this keeps up, RYL is just going to take the game in the laning phase.
There's been no objectives obviously taken here, but there almost stands 1,000 gold lead for RYL from what they've done in the lanes and what they've been able to do so far. Here comes the gank onto Pushu.
Godlike gets in, gets a good double counter strike down there. They're going to have to force to use that barrier to block off Pushu. Look, he was coming around. They saw him passing that water. They know he was there. They didn't go too deep, but that was a really good trade considering this is a 1v2 lane, effectively for Godlike. He's kept up in level, and he's putting more damage down on Fnatic.
You still see there are some consumables down in Yellowstar's side. These guys may have what it takes to go back in one more time. They're standing eye to eye right now. We see Cyanide's back in the top lane, but they don't have vision of him, so that's why they're hesitating.
I think it's incredibly dangerous right now for Fnatic to actually go in on Godlike. Godlike got so much experience from jungling early on in the game, and now SOAS getting dove.
Yeah, you can see he's in trouble. That's going to be the ultimate. The passive popped. Will it be enough? Will he get that cell division back together? Tabe is very, very low. He's going to come back in with just a little bit of hit points and flashes out of it.
Wow, that does mean, though, SOAS is very far behind in that lane. He made a little bit of a mistake, but this lane advantages that RYL is accumulating are just hamstringing Fnatic. Every lane of Fnatic actually needs help right now, so Cyanide is not able to pull off any type of aggressive jungling maneuver. He's trapped at 9 CS, 6.5 minutes into the game. This is the second big camp Lunky has tried to invade in Cyanide's jungle, and Cyanide's still just trapped up top, babysitting SOAS.
And he's sitting on a ward right now. He's also down 7 CS in the jungle. Well, Lucky's been able to stay in this bottom lane, go into the jungle, steal golems, get wraiths when he wants on the side of Fnatic. They are not letting Fnatic get an edge here.
They are not, and Godlike, you know, they've got to start dealing with him. You know, we've already seen yesterday how a Jax gets going again. The Cocoon lands on Yellowstar, taking incredibly low. This could well be first blood, but no! There it is, the Ignite finally ticks.
Seemed like the last tick of Ignite from Godlike there, and that's why it was dangerous for Yellowstar and Pusha to be in that lane. They were out-leveled by what effectively is a kill lane with Elise and Jax.
Yellowstar actually still has a potion coming out of that, but now it's onto SOAS! He goes down too!
This game is running away from Fnatic extremely quickly. 2,300 gold, only 7.5 minutes in. Every lane going RYL's way, and they're picking up kills in even fights, 2v2s. What is effectively just the lane matchup up top with Vayne and Lulu against Zac. This is huge trouble for Fnatic because without teleports as well, they don't have sneaky moves to make around the map and get some of these kills back.
Desperate times, and if you look in that mid lane, you talked about it, 72 to 31 CS farm behind Whites. Peke is miles off, and he's the man that has to carry Fnatic through this one. And at that stage, I'm not sure he can. We're only 8 minutes in, and they are way behind.
That early Fizz pick was a dare to Whites, seeing if he would be able to shut him down. He didn't decide to go for R. We've seen that matchup play out, but the Orianna pick, actually coming into this tournament, people were saying Peke's strongest champion was actually Orianna. You'd think he would see that coming a bit more, but White's almost without jungle pressure, pretty much no ganks coming through, just a straight up 1v1 is absolutely decimating Peke, who had been so dominating throughout this entire World Championships up until this game.
And Peke is actually trying to hit a spike really early, getting that sheen first. Still down about 40 CS in that lane.
Yeah, you see most Fizzes go for double Doran's Ring. He's completely skipped that because I think he recognizes how far behind Fnatic is falling right now.
That's a dangerous, dangerous move. We do see Royal Club getting ready to go for this Dragon. Fnatic, I don't really think they can counter this one. We do see Peke coming down with Cyanide, but honestly, with the rest of the team slowly closing, Royal are backing out of this one. I'm not too confident.
That's the interesting thing. It's because SOAS has left the top lane and Godlike has basically called that he was missing. He saw him walk through the ward, and instead of risking something, RYL is going to continue to take their monstrous lane advantages. Godlike has effectively been left alone to maybe just push down that turret. At the worst for RYL, they get a turret for this Dragon.
And already we see the pink wards coming out of RYL. There is one on Cyanide, but we'll see if they can get this Dragon coming down. We do have Whites and Lucky just on the top side. They will have to give it up with Vision on their side.
I like that call overall from Fnatic. Even though they do trade objectives, they're at least accelerating the gold a little bit, so their lead percentage-wise, or their deficit isn't as large in this one. They give up the turret, but they do get a big objective in the Dragon.
Godlike, of course, just going to nail down that turret. First one of the game will go to the Chinese team Royal Club here. And that Jax, you got to be careful. We've seen him get going yesterday for, it was for Najin Blacksword actually that used to run him. running very, very well. And I could say SKTT1 ran him as well, because Jack seems to have been one of the champions of choice in that top lane, and as of yet, no team has found a solid counter to him.
Yeah, we were thinking we were going to see a lot more Jacks in this World Championships in the group stage because of the Trinity Force buffs, because of all the hype we've been hearing about him, and because players like we saw yesterday from Najin Sword Expression had played Jacks even before the buffs to much success. I think it's going to be a huge pick throughout this entire series.
Yellow Star not 6 on this possible engagement towards the bottom lane. They don't have vision on Peke in mid, so they're kind of hovering on engaging on this one. But they are all still trying to pressure the advantages. 109 CS over 54 in the mid lane. 102 for Uzi over 75 of Puju.
Yeah, that's some big, big differences in terms of farm between. You can see the gold stacking up to 1,000 gold advantage in that mid lane alone. Between the two. Oh, he's going to see the Starlight go get on towards him. Uzi's going to get caught down.
Tabe gets hit up pretty hard. He's going backside. They're split up on their positioning here, but Cyanide's trying to continue the kill. Tabe's there. He gets the ward down. Oh, he missed the Q, but he gets the kick in. That's what's having the ultimate is worth.
It's the nice insurance from Cyanide, just smacking someone away with a big kick. And actually, I'm very surprised Uzi brought barrier in this game, because if he cleansed that, he dodges the Leona gank, and that's the crowd control dive that Fnatic loves to pull off and try and get back in this game. Considering how many wards RYL had placed in the river and inside Fnatic's jungle, the fact that Cyanide and Yellowstar could approach that gank, brute force through the lane, is huge for their overall potential in this match. Those are absolutely critical kills, and Fnatic, because of that, is still in this game.
So we see the Phage Stones get built up by Pushu, almost the standard build, of course, for a Corki. He's going to go back and see what he can get with that kill and assist gold that he's just picked up. It is going to be the Sheen, so no boots still for him. Meanwhile, he's going to be up against that Blade of the Rune King, Uzi, in that bottom lane. Farm-wise, we mentioned it already, he's fell quite far behind, but those kills, those assists, they're going to be needed. It
really, really helped. He actually brought 20 CS back just within that small instant, so he's getting himself there. We'll see what they can do in the other lanes. We've seen Peke having a really hard time, but there's been no kills really to come from that lane.
And something that we have to note is the general strength of Fnatic's solo lanes is what has gotten them here. But both Soaz and Peke are getting destroyed by Godlike and White so far in this match. These CS differentials are not something Fnatic is used to playing with or against. I really want to see how they react to that. Effectively, Pushu and Yellowstar have to carry this one, even though their solo laners cannot support them or ward off ganks with the presence of their mid and top lane teleports.
And you know, we've seen a similar comp from this one before from Fnatic in the European LCS. Godlike just bullying Soaz up the lane. What is effectively, well, what they're aiming to happen is Peke is going to be the man split pushing on his own, the rest of Fnatic get a 4-man group. And honestly, right now, Peke is not going to be able to deal with Godlike.
Round two.
The lockdown coming in on Tabe. The seated blade hits. They may be able to take out Tabe here. He throws the wild growth on himself. Uzi doing what he can. Gets the condemn at the wrong time. And it looks like they are going to lose the support.
It doesn't look like they're going to give this one up, though. Uzi's going to catch on towards Pushu. The Cyanide in there is going to be the safeguard to try and help him. And Lucky comes in, he gets locked up. Lucky's going to go down. He's repelled away. He's got no means to get out from this one. Oh, has he? Because the white shield saves him.
You can see an absolute focus right now by Fnatic on that bottom lane. Cyanide is effectively trying to camp Uzi and Tabe. That was very close to being an absolute disaster for RYL, but actually Cyanide missed two of his Sonic Waves in that engagement.
Oh, the warding really helping Peke find a bit of trouble there, and he will turn tide and head the other. Actually,
he still wants to go.
He's going to trick this one out. He may try to stay. They are closing in on it. Cyanide's hovering.
He's going to come across. Instead, he's going to go towards Lucky.
The
Ignite sticking. He will get him down. But is he going to be able to get away with this one? He's trying to trade it. He hasn't got the damage to deal with Whites. And Whites does take him down. Uzi, meanwhile, is playing safeguard, keeping Cyanide away.
Questionable fight there. While he was able to pick up Lucky, giving a kill to Whites' Orianna, who was already dominating him in lane, is bad.
There we go, bouncing him out. It's just still being a bully. Godlike flexing his muscles constantly in this top lane. Continuously stealing blue, goes in! The flash does not pop the cell division.
That was close. That was...
Soaz even knew it.
That was a disaster waiting to happen in that lane. It's a level 11 Jax versus a level 9 Soaz, and because Cyanide has made it very clear that he is trying to help out Pushu and Yellowstar, Soaz is effectively on his own against an incoming monster Jax. I cannot fault Cyanide for his decision here. It's always safer and often better to gank the lane that is even or winning than to gank a lane that is losing. Because if Lucky only mirrored ganks, assuming Cyanide did try to go for Zach, it would be a disaster and it would effectively just cascade the game in Royal's favor.
And you know what? I'm not sure Godlike's going to give up on that top lane. He's going to back off now. I think he's just going to go back and buy and come back again and just keep ramming that lane down SOAS's throat and the rest of the lanes. Because they're all losing, they all need the help from Cyanide. Cyanide's effectively having to leave that lane alone and help out pushing this bottom.
Yeah, it's the perfect storm for Royal and Godlike's Jax right now because they have effectively 3 lanes that scale amazingly well. Because normally you see Uzi's Vayne, you say we have to shut him down. And what Royal is doing is they're taking that threat and they're allowing Godlike to be his own threat on Jax. If they did not have 2 players right now that are so far ahead in Jax and Vayne, that strategy would not pay off.
Locking down the Dragon here, coming in at 16 minutes. Oh, the Sonic Wave coming across. Cyanide does not connect. SOAS doing what he can in the top lane to pressure this, as Peke is actually going to join him.
And Cyanide looking to try and get that steal. I'm not sure if SOAS has quite got enough with this wave to take this turret down. Doesn't have a great deal of damage, just got that Sunfire Cape on him, and it's going to be the middle turret going down as well. Royal driving down all of the outer turrets now.
There's a bit of bis rotation there from Fnatic to go for Dragon, lose that mid. They're going to get top though, so it comes back to them.
So one thing Fnatic's been doing to try and stay a little close in this game, and they've actually done it fairly frequently, is they don't ward as much as their opponents do. Royal had generally complete vision across Fnatic's red side of their jungle. Oh, man. And that turret's not going down, so the objective goal is not close either.
Yeah, SOAS's face told the whole story there. He wasn't too impressed with that one. Where are you going, Peke? You are way behind enemy lines right here. They're going to use duck lock on towards Uzi.
They saw them going towards Peke. They throw down the solar flare immediately, and they're going to come in from the side. Whites is also there, but he gets chumped and watered. Will they continue to go in? The condemn on the Yellow Star. They continue the fights. The third bolt proc, the tumble, the attack, the shock wave, and the turret's going to come in, but Peke enters the fight.
Uzi effectively used himself on Vayne as the ball delivery system. That is some aggressive positioning because of his Blade of the Ruined King and the Lulu ultimate. He effectively was an amazing self-peel, and now Fnatic's in a whole heap of trouble.
Yeah, Peke doing what he can to try and keep them away from this. What we see, Cyanide going very deep, trying to get towards Tabe. He's trying to save that turret, kicks back in towards White, but they don't want him. Peke's really got no mana to deal with this one. The Urchin Strike's not there.
Crazy.
And they just feed another kill to Uzi.
Whites and Uzi once again becoming the people with all the kills for Royal. It's their early grouping that just destroys teams sometimes. They won the laning phase so hard that as soon as they got a 4v4, even if it was estranged and often weird positions under a turret, Royal could push through and just capitalize.
They are spiking in their damage right now. The Athenes is out, the Sheen into the Triforce, oh, the Phage as well, almost into the Triforce coming in for Godlike. And let's watch this one more time.
Yeah, you can see Cyanide tried to come in on the side for the kill on Tabe, but watch the condemn from Uzi. Right onto Cyanide into the wall. So Cyanide never got off. I don't think he got off his ultimate for the execute. That's who he was trying to go for Tabe. He ended up trying to kick White's back. And then at this point, Peke is trapped between a White and a turret, and that is not what he wants to be.
And an interesting note to make about White on Orianna is Faker levels his Q. He actually went W, and you can see the amount of damage he's providing to his teams in those fights. So we'll have to see this play style coming out, maybe just against the Fizz, trying to get that burst damage out, but a little bit of a switch up there, as still Royal going pretty glass cannon, like Fnatic likes to do.
Yeah, and it's a 7,000 gold differential now. Royal Club 5-0 up in turrets. We talked about the perfect game that OMG nearly had in the group stage. Right now, Royal are looking dominant in this one. And again, Godlike's like, where are you going, Cyanide? Nobody's wants to deal with Godlike. All of these fights have happened so far. Godlike has not been involved in them. He is becoming a monster in that top lane right now.
Sorry about that, I had to cough one time, but I wanted to talk about Godlike's Jax and getting the Trinity Force so early on. Because yesterday when Jax was successful, it was when he was allowed to farm. If he ever got rushed down, some of these games he would never even get to the Trinity Force. The fact that Godlike has it right now means even more trouble for the rest of Fnatic.
That's not something you just want to throw out there. No hook, line, and sinker onto Whites for that one. Tabe joins in mid. They are collectively getting together, but there's a two-man Baron.
Yeah, and look at all the wards in the river right there, completely constricting Fnatic from going and checking. It is a little dangerous, though. They would have to peel off this if Fnatic starts coming through, because Whites is actually doing blue buff at the same time. And Godlike got surprisingly low on this one. This could be a bit of a Fnatic turn.
Fnatic sense it. We do see Cyanide coming in, gets condemned away, tries to land the kick, goes in, doesn't get the smite down, and this could turn around badly. Godlike's in there, gets kicked away. They're going to collapse on towards Uzi. Uzi off on his side. That's going to be Pushu and Yellowstar. They should collapse him up. Cyanide has got away in the top lane. Finally, he's going to get down. Godlike gets on him.
Even so, this is huge for RYL. A 20-minute Baron now sitting on 4 people. That became, by the way, way riskier than RYL ever wanted it to. They effectively opted into a 50-50 in a game where they were extremely far ahead. Thank God Lucky rolled the dice and got that smite down.
Well, when you have about 11 wards on the map, I'm guesstimating at this point, it looks like you can do Baron when you've lit up the entire top side of the map. RYL has vision of everything. It's something we heard Deficio talking about in the preamble of the video. Fnatic will shut your vision down and they will take over consistently, and they were not allowed to do that from the first minute of the game.
And the problem was that when they went for that, the 4 members in there, Peke wasn't there, so they couldn't really collapse in on there. Pushu finally has helped take down that top turret. That's the first turret of the game for Fnatic. But as you can see in that differential and the positioning of RYL, they're going to take one of their own. I'm really not too sure Fnatic want to defend this one.
I don't know if they can. So much of Fnatic's playstyle normally is about holding turrets with 3 or 4 people while Peke goes off to the side and makes plays. But with a Jax and a Vayne at the level they are right now, Peke's not actually able to go off and make plays. And the wave clear from Fnatic, aside from what Pushu can put down, is rather suboptimal. RYL, this is the last effectively non-inhibitor turret that RYL has to take down. Whoa. And Fnatic just startling to go in.
Look at that from Soaz, waiting for that slingshot engagement. He gets hit up. The crowd control from the shockwave actually doesn't do much. It is going to be Lucky, very low. Ignite takes him down. He comes down from Repel. He may continue into the base, but Godlike, he says that's a bad idea and backs up.
Yeah, this was just Fnatic trying desperately to defend these outer turrets. They got very low off of this one, and if the creep wave arrives in time for RYL, they're going to look to take down an inhibitor. They do not let their Barons go to waste. They're going to look for something big here.
Yeah, Peke and Pushu going back to base. They've got themselves ready from the fountain. They're going to be coming back into this one. RYL, though, continuing to push. They should be coming onto your screen at the moment. Yellowstar still ready and waiting, looking to try and lock someone up. But again, the damage from White's just doing enough job. And look at that inhibitor turret. It is almost down. 22 minutes into this game. RYL continuing their speedy games.
And they don't have much siege protection, but you do have a Zac, you do have a Leona, you have a Fizz, everything that can jump on people attacking your tower. But RYL, they're not respecting any of that. Every time they have a chance at a tower, they take every shot they can. They will move back now and take the dragon, and they'll do it again.
And this is actually kind of illustrating one of the problems we saw in Fnatic's team composition during Champion Select, is since they've fallen behind, they don't have a way of effectively taking out Uzi, and that's not even considering Godlike's Jax. The fact that Tabe's Lulu and White's Orianna can provide so many shields onto Uzi's already stellar positioning on Vayne means Fnatic needs a huge amount of damage and burst potential from only Peke. Since Peke's been behind, since Soaz has been forced to building full tank without magic penetration because he's fallen behind of lane and Godlike, just means Fnatic has no answers for RYL's increasingly giant amounts of damage.
We'll have to see where they go here with just about a 10,000 gold lead sitting between these two teams for just under. 2 kills in that top lane for Godlike, 5 kills for Whites. That has been from roaming around the map. None of those came from Peke in mid lane. They just could not get a fight together. The game was still just won over map control so far.
Royal Club going trading oracles effectively. Just as Lucky's run out, Tabe starts his up, and they do clear out every little bit of vision around that blue buff area. They're going to come in for that final inhibitor turret. They know it only needs literally a lick and it will go down.
Yep, they still have a little bit left on this Baron buff, but they actually don't even have a creep wave in position. They would have to completely face tank this one, and surprisingly, RYL doesn't have a super tank right now, knowing that Jax is built so offensively with the Trinity Force and the Cutlass. They're going to look for a fight soon, though.
Soaz using quite a bit of what's necessary. Actually did not use Let's Bounce there. Looked like he did. He just threw himself out with Slingshot. This turret is going down. The open inhibitor at 25 minutes into the match. Baron's already been taken. RYL in the lead.
But no Baron buff on RYL anymore. Fnatic wants to make a last stand. It would actually be right here before this inhibitor goes down. Otherwise, RYL will starve them.
I see Peke just lingering off at the side. That Elastic Slingshot will be back up, but Soaz is already too low. He's already down to half hit points. If he's going to use Let's Bounce, it may be a suicide chance for him, and he's going to have to try and throw himself in there. Instead, it's going to be the first inhibitor of the game. 25 minutes gone to RYL Club.
Fnatic knows they have to watch a few of these things happen. As Jat said, they can't engage right now. It would just be even worse for them. They do want to figure out what's happening. They're trying to create those picks, but they don't even want to go in on their own attacks.
Yeah, 10,000 gold lead at 25 minutes. This has just been a completely Royal-controlled game. They won every single lane. They got the 50-50 at the Baron, which would have been a huge turning point if Cyanide would have been able to steal that. We have to emphasize that a lot. But since Royal got that Baron, since they have such a monumental turret advantage, it has shut down Fnatic's ability to catch people in rotations, hide in Fog of War, and actually use their huge amounts of chaining crowd control with Yellowstar's Leona. Even though Fnatic got Uzi down a couple of times, I think that opportunity has passed. At this point, Royal has too many shields and too many diversified threats that anytime Fnatic tries to lock one person down, that might not even work, and they're going to die to the other two big threats.
Going to push on the tower here. And one thing I want to really point out for Royal Club is the fact that how controlled they are. When we watched these throughout the regionals, throughout even OMG's games, they were diving in, even when it was an even trade. They're 10k ahead right now. They're still not diving in. They are taking this super seriously, really slowly pushing down those turrets.
There's the initiation.
Solar Flare locking them down. They will try to get down to this one. Soaz gets himself into the fray. Prusu on the outside trying to put down the Gatling gun shred. And that is a beautiful wild growth, but it's going to be Cyanide going down.
Yeah, they tried to use the kick there. You can see Cyanide going in. He got the 4-man kick in, but unfortunately the damage simply wasn't there to follow up.
Yeah, even though that was almost the best initiation Fnatic could have had, Solar Flare plus everything else, Royal can just finish.
Oh, they're going to get away from that Shockwave, but it's not going to be enough. You see Peke desperately trying to get in, get a kill. Finally takes down Whites, but it's all too late. Royal Club shut him down. They're going to get themselves another inhibitor.
And now with 4 people dead on Fnatic, they can get that inhibitor. They're going to continue to push in. You can see nothing could actually finish off Uzi. Pushu trying desperately with his rockets, but he is a one-man army against a lot of people.
And really, looking back to the early part of this game, as we've now traveled 27 minutes into this, Lucky and Godlike double jungling the early part of the game. An early Baron from these guys. The kill potential of Jax and Elise, destroying the lane of Puju and Yellowstar on the bottom. Soaz and Cyanide did what they could in the top, but it was ultimately the sway of where the solo lane started to win.
Yeah, I think so much of this was Royal's domination from Godlike and Whites. I cannot fault Fnatic for trying to focus down Uzi because, let's face it, he's an amazing AD carry. They actually put a decent amount of shutdown onto Uzi, but they forgot about Godlike. Whites destroyed Peke. And if you're a Fnatic team that wants to beat Royal, you just can't have that happen. Peke has to either pick a stronger pick or, well, Fizz is obviously a strong pick, but not against Orianna, or he just needs to perform better in lane. Without Peke roaming around and making plays, Fnatic does not execute.
And that is always the danger of picking your mid lane very straight away. And it's something that actually in the European LCS they just haven't done. It's not been done for a very long time, so it surprised me and surprised the teams even coming into this tournament like those mid lanes were getting chosen straight away because of the fighting over Ahri, fighting over Zed.
Yesterday Ahri was 8th pick, 9th pick?
Yeah.
I think, yeah. Absolutely right. You're correct on that one. 8-1 in turrets. I think it shows really what Royal wanted to get out of this game, how much they wanted to protect Uzi, how much Whites knew he was comfortable. And, you know, as you were saying that Peke is also an Ori player, it kind of shocks me that that lane went so heavily in favor of White.
All credit to Whites right here.
Yeah.
We know Tabe was very confident in Whites' ability against Peke. All respect to Peke as well when he was saying those things. He just has faith in his own team, as well he should have. Royals on an incredible winning streak right now. This will be the 6th game in a row from their qualifiers, and here's the dive.
They're going to jump in. Shockwave just wrecks down, Pushu down. This is going to be Royal Club's game. There's nothing the Fnatic can do to come out of this one. It will be an ace to follow up. The only man standing is Peke, who's just run back to the fountain. He is just going to hide and curl up and hope that second game will go better.
Yeah,
solid
this has just
fights.
been domination and early surrender from Fnatic. Only 29 minutes in. Good game by Royal Club.